Good morning, traders. Welcome to the live trading room. I hope you are all doing well. Let's have a look at the market and how it's going down now. Let's have a look at the DXY. Yesterday, we projected a few fib levels. Let's see what we have here. Happy Friday, everyone. We'll be looking for straight setups. 1, 2, 3, that's what we still have. What we expected is for this to continue to the downside. So for now, right now, what has happened is that we're getting this move to the downside. We had this pullback, we had this bounce, which we thought was only going to be a slight bounce and then continuation to the downside here. But this is going sideways. It's going sideways. We're not getting any move here. So let's have a look at this structure here. See what we're getting here. We're getting this as a sideways move. This has retraced deeply, almost back to these levels. Is this the structure that we're looking at? Let's have a look here. So with the DXY, we may have just completed this structure here. We are seeing this right at the top on the 4-hour, and this is just above the 50. So it's actually around the 50 level. So this is still a possibility that we can get this structure here on the DXY. Will it break higher? We have to check on the 1 hour if there is a setup for this to break a little bit higher. Let's see on the 1 hour. The 1 hour is showing us a bit of a push to the upside here with this trade setup here, showing that we're going to push a little bit higher here on the DXY. How far will that go? Let's have a look here. You just want to see if this is not going to make this running flat. 1, 2, 3. We've broken this low, so this can push up higher and give us a possible expanding flat as well, as follows: A, complex B, and then a C here. Looks like we're getting the 4th and the 5th wave here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's what I'm looking at. This is an ABC expansion flat around this area. So we're going to see this push a little bit higher in the next coming sessions, just around this level. I do not think it's going to go all the way to the upside. I think we're still going to continue to the downside here after this move is done. Same with the euro. Similar structure, showing us continuation to the downside here. We were expecting a bounce around the 50% of this move, which did not come. So there's a possibility that we are also getting that complex structure here. This should come, push a little bit lower here. Is this the structure that we're looking at on the euro? So a bit of a push down to this level, and then again another upside there. Right now, it is not so clear what we are looking at on this. It is just going sideways. This structure is not a corrective structure for us to say that the euro is going down like this. Okay, so if we're getting any move to the downside on the euro, that means we are still going to be sideways for a while. Even if we do get this, we can get this bounce back up here. Even if we're going to go down, we're going to have to see this first. Those are not just lines, so those are corrective structures where you can get this one here, this one there, this one making these 3 waves, and this one making these 3 waves here. So that means we're still gonna go sideways here. So it's not clear, there's no trade set up here. We just need to wait for this structure to build up here. Those that took it from the blue box, you can still hold on. Just make sure that you moved it to break even, so that if it's gonna come around these levels, we're gonna start looking for a new entry. Right, that is the euro. Even if you got it here on the second attempt, you are at break even now. You can actually leave the trade for no loss. Pound US dollar. Again, another one, what we're expecting this move to continue to the upside as it is going up correctively. Should see this one still continue to the upside. It's not an aggressive move. It's going sideways, so we're gonna see this one push a little bit higher. Very slow move. It's 3 waves there, 3 waves there, 3. Is this the 3 waves there, or has that 3 waves completed? This structure will not make any sense if we had something like this. That is not a Elliott wave corrective structure. Unless you can look at that as a regular flat to say that is complete, we'll have to see a trade setup for downside if we're going to look at this. But for now, there is nothing clear there on pound. I will not be interested in taking that. All right, Chief. We were looking at this as a running flat, still is. Yesterday we were only here, expected it to drop from there, but it pushed a little bit higher, still did not break this high here, so that can still be a running flat, can still come down like that. Let's see how that goes. That is US dollar Chief, no trade set up there. US dollar CAD, we're making another bounce. We're gonna see a bit of a move to the upside as well. But remember, US dollar CAD's move to the downside is not done. Even if we do see a push to the upside, it's gonna be giving us another opportunity to sell it some more. Remember, our target on this one is still 120. So bounces are just opportunities for us to take it all the way down. Even this, even if we do see this, we're still gonna look for downside. Let's look at the RSI. It looks like we are setting up again for another move lower. We are here, we are still here, we still expect this. Even if it does push a little bit higher, that is a continuation pattern to the downside. Look at the detailed structure on the website. All these charts that we're looking at here are updated, so you can look at that on the website. Audi US dollar after the break here, I expected it to go slightly higher to about 50%. Okay, but it looks like we have reversed from that level. A break below this structure, that means this corrective structure was not a single, but then we'll make a double. So let's watch this for a setup to the downside. You can take advantage for one more move to the downside. New Zealand's the same. We expected a bit of a push to the upside so that this can make structural sense. As this made a structure like this, there is a possibility that this has made this structure. And if this is the structure, we're going to see a bounce from here. It's actually going to be the red. We're going to see a bounce from here. Maybe this pushes slightly lower here. We get an expanding flat and then upside. So be very careful with that. I don't think it's an opportunity to take it to the downside as yet. There are no trade setups for downside. The Audi as well. If we're going to get downside, we need to get a decent corrective structure here for downside. Not clear at all right now. So the indicator and the structures are not confirming anything here. We can still see that continuation to the downside. US dollar ZAR will still continue to the downside. We've got a bit of a bounce, pulling down. We can still get something like this. The similar structure that we had here, a running flat that we got there, can still continue to the downside. We're still going to see the US dollar ZAR continue to the downside. Pound yen. So this is the reason why I was not interested in taking pound yen at these levels. It was going very slowly, and then we have come around these levels. So we're looking for this one to give us a corrective structure again. A decent corrective structure will be an opportunity for us to ride it all the way to 156. Okay, we know that the market does not go in a straight line, so let's wait for decent corrective structures. So when the market is slow like this, it's advisable to sit on your hands and wait for opportunities. Right now, there isn't really any clear opportunities. US dollar ZAR, at this point, we're expecting this to give us continuation to the upside, but the momentum is waning. You can see this strong divergence. You don't want to be in this trade when the RSI is doing this. Okay, so this possibility that we are getting a structure like this, then we'll start seeing continuation to the upside. As it is now, there is no momentum to the upside. Very strong divergence to the downside. Euro yen, after making this three-wave pullback, did not really go anywhere, just like pound US dollar, and that's all because of this. We saw this divergence. If you remember, got stronger here. So that's why you could not get into those trades when there is such strong divergence. Okay, so that was showing that the momentum is waning there and we're not going to get continuations to the downside. So we can get pullbacks here. There are 4-hour RSI is already below 50. So that means we're going to get a deeper pullback there. Let's look at the daily as well. The daily is still above 50. So we will only confirm when this structure here give us a corrective structure, not when this breaks the trend line, because that's irrelevant. When this drops below the 50 line and we get a setup for downside, then we're going to expect a deeper pullback. So otherwise, for now, no confirmation for a reversal. There is a Chief Yen as well. It looks like we've got this on Chief Yen. Look for this to do that. Continuation to the downside on Chief Yen. So there was just no momentum. The divergence was strong. We make a new high, we make a new low. This does not confirm. This one, as you can see, we didn't even make a new high on price. So that means the trend is now to the downside. So let's look for these pullbacks to the downside. That is Chief Yen, CAD. CAD, just a slight pullback. But we know that this is not going to go all the way up as it is in a straight line. We're going to get these pullbacks at some point. We know that this is looking upside, and the bigger structure is for this to even get to around these levels. So it will not go up in a straight line around this level. Let me just show that level. We are looking for this to go around here. That is not a support or resistant level. That is a structural level, as you can see there. It's a structural level, so we're looking for this. Just hold on a second. Right, so this is why we are still looking for CAD to go all the way to the upside. So these pullbacks here shouldn't scare you. Thus, we are still expecting this to continue to the upside here. This is a mistake here. This should be an ABC corrective structure there. Let me just have a look here. Upside down. It's upside down here. Okay, so that's what we have there. This actually should not be 3 waves. We could be getting here 1, 2, 3. This is a wave 4, and we're looking for this to go all the way up to 91. We're currently at 87. Let's track this pullback that we're going to get on CAT, because that is not done. We are still going to get a move to the upside. There's still about 400 pips to go here. So this move is an opportunity to ride onto the trend, just like we got on this one. So let's watch that on CAD. New Zealand, the same. We're still expecting much more upside on this. But the momentum is waning here. This is not going up in 5 waves. As you can see here, we've got 1, 2, 3. It's going up correctively. So it looks like we've got the first leg here. We're going to get this one to do that. At the moment here, we've got equal legs at that point. Okay, so let's just watch this for a move here. If that move is actually complete, and this is actually the leg there, which we can count in the lower degree, then that means that structure is complete. We can get this to pull back to the 50%, 38, 50% before any resumption of the move to the upside. So let's go closer, take a closer look on the 4-hour. So on the 4-hour, we are looking at this corrective structure here. It is now playing out to around this level. So we'll expect this one to continue to these levels. If you remember, we've been looking at this to actually drop from this level. We're looking at this structure, 1, 2, 3, and expecting this to do this. So as you saw yesterday, we're still seeing this showing continuation to the upside to come tag there, and then now we're coming down here. That's the next level here. So watch this as it comes around these levels for continuation to the upside. We may go out one more up, maybe, but there may not be much in terms of momentum. If you look at the RSI, look at this. Okay, this did not even make a new high, but the RSI has made a strong move to the downside. That's showing us that we should get a deeper correction here. Audi finally tagged the top eventually, as we've been expecting. Yesterday we were here. As much as we were expecting here to the downside, we saw this one push to the upside as expected. Now we're looking for this here. We will be looking for continuation to the upside around these levels. Okay, that was the divergence that we're seeing there around those levels. Now we want to see this one come around these levels. Gold. So gold missed the blue box by a few pips. So we're looking at this to come up here. So as much as we've come down here yesterday, we did say that this can push up back into the blue box just to complete the structure. If it does happen, then we may see then from the blue box the drop. But as it is now, let's see, on the 4-hour, there's no setup for this. There's no setup for downside. Let's look at the 1 hour. It's not showing us any clear direction. 1 hour is showing us downside. We are going to see downside on gold. It's not going to push up higher. So it's giving us this setup, as you can see. This dropping here, this closing below here, we're going to see gold now drop. We're going to see gold now drop back to around these levels. Let's go back to the 4-hour to see how far that can drop again. We can see gold drop back at least to around 1676, 1675, those levels, or even lower. There isn't a strong move to the upside there. Right, so that is gold. Silver, the same. If we get a setup for this move here, we will be looking for silver to drop again. This is a corrective structure. Let's see how far that's going to go around those levels. Right. Good. So this is silver. Let's have a look at it on the 1 hour as well. We can see a trade setup for downside, not a trade setup, a indication of downside on gold. Let's see what we're getting on silver as well. We're back on. Right, so silver, 1 hour setup here. Let's look at the indicator as well. Yes, it's also confirming that we're gonna have a bit of a push to the downside here on silver as well. So silver hit the blue box. Now we're seeing continuation to the downside. We are at the top here. We are below 50 on the 1 hour. So we're gonna see continuation to the downside. Brent crude. Brent crude, this was the expectation here. We were looking for this to just simply do this and then push up higher. That's the 4 hour. And we've now dropped well below the 4 hour on Brent crude. But let's have a look at what the daily looks like. The correction has always been imminent on Brent crude. Let's have a look at the daily. It's also just dropped below 50, but has not. So we are still above here. We're still above 50. We have reset it. So let's see if this is going to be a continuation to the upside, or if it's going to make a double. It actually makes sense that we make a double here on Brent crude. I'm just indicating a zigzag here. It does not have to be a zigzag. It can be any corrective structure here. It can be a flat, whatever structure can happen here. It can be a flat before we resume another move to the upside. Switch off here. So that correction has always been imminent on Brent crude. So that looks like a wave 3. 1, 2, 3. Now looks like we are building a 4. Okay, so that's what we're looking at on Brent crude. We made this structure. Now we're looking for that to be making a pullback and then a continuation to the upside on the daily. Pound chief. So look for a confirmation for upside here, but I'll have to check. We'll have to check the indicators here. If we're not getting any fading of the momentum. As it is, there is no divergence. This is a corrective structure. When this is done, we are going to see another leg higher on pound chief. Whether this is going to break this high, we don't know for now, but we are right at the top. Can you see that this is the 70 line? So the fact that we are playing around the 70 line means there is still momentum. And we have already resetted on the daily. That means we're going to have another leg higher, a much bigger leg to the upside on pound chief. I'm going to go to the weekly before I go to the 4 hour just to see how far this will go. We are currently here and we have already broken out of this structure. Actually, we are right at that structure. We are correcting at this structure. So the next move from here, depending on how long it takes, could be the one that takes us all the way to 140. That's 1,000 pips if we do get there. So we'll be looking for this. So look out for this here. We're already correcting on the upper boundary of that correction. So a push from here, we'll be looking to go to 140. You can just go about 1,100 pips from current levels. Now let's see if we are getting an opportunity for entry there on pound chief. Don't miss this, guys. This will be an interesting one, but it may take some time for it to get out of this structure. As it is on the 4 hour, we are at the top. Again, it looks like we're at the top again, so that means we may not necessarily break out from this level. So we can get a push here and get a move back inside here to make a double correction. So because the move that's going to come from here will be all the way to the upside. Let's check the 1 hour because we don't want to miss this if it does play out. On the 1 hour, do we have a trade setup? There's not really a trade setup on the 1 hour. It's not a convincing one. It's actually not. Right, so we will wait for a decent entry on this. So currently we may get this as 1, 2, 3 down, 1, 2, 3 up, 1, 2, 3 down. That could be the one that gives us an entry that can go all the way. Otherwise, we can still get one more down. But we should be watching this and tracking this because the next move out of this, you saw where we are. This is at the boundary line of that correction. So after this, we should be going all the way to the upside for this 1,100 pips. Pound CAD, 1 hour, straight up here. That's actually 1, 2, 3. Are we gonna see this one push lower? Obviously, this three wave pullback here is as a result of oil. pulling back with that deeper structure. Are we going to see this one come down? We are already above 50. Looks like we may still continue to the upside here. Let's see what we're going to get here. This is a corrective structure. Can we get this to push a little bit higher? Then we'll have a look at the what structure that will be making. Let's go to the 4 hour. So the pound CAD, remember the target on this one was the So is this the pullback that will then continue to the downside? We have to see here. If we get that continuation pattern here, then we'll be taking it all the way down to this level. As it is now, it is pulling back with this. We'll be watching this. Let's check 1 hour. Again, so the 1 hour again is not really showing anything. Not really showing anything. So we'll be looking for that entry here. If we get a setup there, we'll take it all the way down. Pound Audi, it's gone back up again. Still coming down correctively. We are at the top again, but the difference between where we are now is that we are at the top and we are at the bottom here. And this time we are above 50 and we are getting this corrective structure on the 1 hour. So if the 1 hour confirms this, then we're going to see this one give us this structure. At least break around this level. Okay. That is Pound Audi, Pound New Zealand. Pound New Zealand has now actually broken that structure. Remember, from around these levels, I've been looking for this to go, but this made a double, this complex correction. We are here, we are correcting here. On the 1 hour, we are at the bottom. Now, this looks like a trade setup that you can actually take. Let's have a look, take a closer look on this one. This is a trade setup. It has confirmed on the 1 hour. You can actually take this right now. That's the trade setup there. 1 hour candle has closed. Next step, to check how far this will go. If you're taking an entry from current levels, give yourself room there. Let's go back to the 4 hour to see how far this could go. The expectation has always been for this to go to equal legs. We're not necessarily go very far because this is the equal legs here. Let's go back to the 1 hour. Still a good risk to reward ratio. Still 2.55. So the trade is decent. You can take this trade right now. It's ready. We are at the bottom. We've just turned from the bottom. We are well above 50 on the 1 hour and we're looking for upside. So this is ready right now. Just want to fix this up so we can get the entry right. Right, that's it. Looks good for upside. That is Pound New Zealand. Just gonna wanna go back one to Pound Audi. Pound Audi has not broken as yet, unlike New Zealand. and the structure on pound rally is not clear, let's check it on the 15 minutes. So on the 15 minutes, it actually does look like a decent corrective structure. Okay, so we would want to see this close above this as not confirmed. So we want to see the 1 hour candle here closing above this flag. Then we look for upside. All right. Those are the pound pairs, euros. Let's go back to the 4 hour. Euros no change. We still expect this. We are still below 50. As long as we are above 50 and this is below 50, you can see the RSI staying below 50. Every time we get here, this should continue to drop. So we may get the bounce. If we get another drop here, we can get a move to the upside here. So, but for now, we're seeing another drop again. No sign of a bounce there. Euro, New Zealand. We want to see this here. So there's a move here. There's this corrective structure here. We want to see this continue to the downside. We actually had a trade set up here for downside. Has now bounced back up. We are at the top again. The RSI is just at 50. Let's see if we're going to continue lower. EuroCAD. EuroCAD has been bearish. Yes, here's another opportunity for a move to the downside. If you remember this one, we also identified this one right here, playing out with the alert there. This one is not as good as this. This one was good because you could have a clear boundary here. This one is not so good because the boundary is here, so you would want to see this one close here. By that time, your stop loss is going to be 5 because it's going to be above here, this level. But it's continuation to the downside nonetheless. EuroChief set up for downside. It's not breaking up higher. We're going to see this continue to the downside. We are at the top. We are below 50. We're going to see this one continue downside. Audi New Zealand has now tagged this top. From around these levels, I was already expecting that this three-wave structure has completed and we're going to see this. But we went up around these levels. We pushed up higher. We're looking for this one to drop, to not get confirmation for a drop. Instead, we take the top. And now, are we going to get this to the downside? We are right at the top, but we're still above 50. So we cannot confirm downside as yet until we get decent entry for downside. So this is the reason why you cannot rely on trend lines. Look at this trend line. It was nicely broken. This is why we don't trade trend lines. It was nicely broken. Why didn't it go if the trend line was broken? So now if you trade trend lines, you're going to come here and adjust the trend line. So that means it's no good trading a trend line if you can always just adjust it at will. So that's what we're looking at there. We are right at the top of the boundary. Let's see if we're going to get this drop to the downside. Audi CAD. 4 hour is not showing us anything. We've seen the impulse. Is this going to continue to the upside? Let's check the 1 hour. So we've seen the CAD pairs bounce to the upside because of the oil correction. Are we going to see this push up higher? Currently, there's no indication of direction. This could come one more down here, and then we start seeing it move to the upside. That will be a corrective structure that is opposite to what oil has done, and then we'll see some more downside. But as it is now, it is not a very clear structure. This is setting up for downside. That's a corrective structure. We're gonna see this one come down around these levels. We are at the top, we are below 50. New Zealand CAD. Let's go back to the 4 hours so we can see the structure as well. New Zealand CAD, we're seeing a bounce here, corrective structure here. We should see a bounce here. If it gives us this, that's continuation to the downside. New Zealand Chief. Sideways. 1, 2, 3, up, then down, upside like that. That's the expectation there. So we are currently looking for this one to come, take the low here, bounce, and then go up. We are in this corrective structure. No trade there until we get that corrective structure complete. Whichever way it completes, CAD Chief just refuses to give us a decent corrective structure, but we've got a corrective structure nonetheless. We've made a nice three-wave move. It's not as big as I wanted it to be. We are still above 50 on the 4 hour. We have reset it, so we're going to see this make another move to the upside. The only challenge with this is that we have now gone and made all these highs while the RSI is making all these lows. So we want to see this one. What if this one comes up here? Anyway, still comes back down here. We can see one more up, but the RSI may not go and make a new high. If it doesn't, with that one more up, then we can start getting the decent corrective structure. But remember, we're looking for this to go all the way up in the bigger degree. In the higher degree structure, we are looking for this to go all the way up. Let's switch off here. See, what we're seeing currently is nothing that you want to sell. It's still up. We're still looking for upside. We just want a decent one. Maybe something similar to this. That will take us for one. Even with this, we're going to see 1, 2. We're going to see 3, 4. Okay, so that's what we're looking at on CAD Chief. We're still looking for more upside. That means oil is still going to continue to the upside as well if CAD is going to be strong. S&P 500 has not gone anywhere from yesterday. Just these corrective structures, just going sideways, not showing us anything here. We're looking for this one to continue up higher. Let's look at this one has not even opened yet, so let's have a look at the Dow. So the Dow is showing a pullback. The Dow has already made this significant move to the upside. We're going to see some pullbacks. We will update this over the weekend to indicate what structure we expect going forward on this. There's no divergence on the RSI, so that pullback doesn't mean the reversal. As you can see, new high. Although the RSI does not confirm, it does not make a new low. Looks like we're going to start getting these pullbacks again. Just look out for on the website for the updated charts on the indices. We're getting slight pullbacks. Nasdaq on one. So the Nasdaq does not go anywhere after breaking out of this three-wave correction. It's already made 3 waves here. Can you see it do this? And then upside. So for now, just sideways on this. Just watch that structure. UK 100. Are these three waves complete on the UK 100? We're still expecting a little bit more before we get upside. For downside here, we'll only have to come if we get a confirmation for downside. We need to get a continuation pattern here to confirm that downside is going to come now. We are at the bottom here. We've dipped below 50, so we may not bounce here. So we may get that structure for downside. So that means these 3 waves up, 3 waves down, 3 waves down may have completed here. And we start looking for this to come down, which is this structure. Okay, that is UK 100. DAX is still on the way up. 1 hour, we're already resetting here. RSI is still well above 50, so this should continue to the upside. Momentum is still upside here. Nikkei, three-wave pullback, but we don't really go anywhere. Are we gonna see this one do that? This is not clear. It's still very premature to look at that correction. Nifty has made a flat. Eventually, 1, 2, 3. Are we gonna see the Nifty now resume up higher? We are at the bottom, we're still below 50. We want to see this one move above 50. So the Nifty looks like we're gonna get another leg higher. Let's go to the cryptocurrencies. So Bitcoin, those 3 waves that we looked at on the weekly outlook, 1, 2, 3, 4, we're looking for a 5. It seems like we're gonna have an extended wave 5 here to come and complete this. We're gonna see another leg to the upside here on Bitcoin. The structure is the same on Ethereum. We're looking upside. 1, 2, is this a 3? Is this a 4? Are we now starting to see 5th wave? This is valid because the 4 does not break above the wave 1, 2. If it did, that will invalidate that structure. This is invalidation point according to the rules. So we still expect this one to continue to the upside. We are above 50 here. We've reset it. We're gonna see more upside. Ethereum. 1, 2, 3, 4. Are we gonna see this to the upside? We are at the top here, but let's check here. Lower degree is showing upside. Or not really. So that means we're not ready to move as yet, but there's no clear direction as it is now. So the Bitcoin and Ethereum are showing clear moves to the upside. Let's see if this is gonna follow with 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we start with the leading diagonal and then upside. So if we're gonna have a leading diagonal, it should be something like this for the last wave. This is obviously exaggerated, but we're gonna expect this one to make 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5. Remember, we're looking for the last wave 5 here. That is Litecoin, Ethereum. Ethereum looks like we're still gonna have a bit of a drop here before any move to the upside. Okay, guys, that's all for today. I will see you on Sunday at 8 a.m. GMT. Have a great weekend, everybody. Cheers.